We're going to look at some history today. I'm reminded of a series from 2002 called Firefly. Marina Baccarin has a prominent brow ridge, a square jaw, and I did do some research. Marina, the goddess of death. Her surname is Baccarin, which did remind me of Bacchus, the Roman god of agriculture, wine, and fertility, equivalent to the Greek god Dionysus. Bacchus is the son of Jupiter. Marina has a very wide dental arch, noticeable trachea and Adam's apple. In the series, she's called a companion, which basically is an elite prostitute. A companion is a skilled, well-educated, and well-respected member of a guild of professional courtesans and entertainers, somewhat similar to Oiran. While they do frequently engage in a form of state-sanctioned prostitution, they are nonetheless treated with a great deal of respect and deference by nearly everyone, though non-guild prostitutes are generally treated in the reverse, even if they are former guild members. Inara Sarah is a registered companion. A companion is allowed to choose their own clients. It's not unusual for a companion to choose same-sex clients as well as opposite. A form of a tea ceremony is part of the traditional opening to a meeting between companions and their clients. A companion frequently provides a form of psychotherapy for their clients. Trainees come from good families and the trading houses have high academic standards. The guild establishes its own laws and rules. For example, guild law states that no house may ever be run by a man. The law also states that a companion is free to choose her clients. Originally a female organization, the guild has since allowed males to enter. The men undergo the same training as the women, and like the women, they service both sexes. Girls and boys as young as 12 may begin training, which includes years of discipline, religious study, and the arts. Clients must pay a subscription fee to earn a place in the client registry. Yes, because these are not common street prostitutes, these are elite prostitutes. A companion knows traditional and contemporary dance, they are skilled musicians, schooled in literature, and stay current with all significant newsworthy events. Registered companions are culturally well-educated with training in a number of areas including psychology, music, fencing, and languages, as well as unarmed martial arts. On the core planets, companions are typically trained from a very young age, so you know what that means. While the Companion Guild is in many ways a working company of skilled artisans, it would also appear to be a religious sect. Heads of companion houses are called priestesses, and Inara's house is called madrasa, the Arabic word for school. So really she's a madam in a brothel, but it's sacred prostitution instead of a harlot house. The Serpent Priestesses and ancient sexual rites. Women robed in scarlet sheaths conducting rituals associated with serpents, away from prying eyes, serving Inanna, the goddess of love, fertility, and war. The color of their clothes was symbolic of their power. Inanna is an ancient Mesopotamian goddess associated with love, beauty, sex, desire, fertility, war, justice, and political power. She was originally worshipped in Sumer and later by the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians under the name Ishtar. However, few companions marry the wealthy prince and go off to live in the glittering castle, while of the social elite, companions still exist outside society. Though a companion is welcomed as an escort at a party, a companion would not be so well received as a husband or wife. The priestesses wore robes of scarlet, the color signifying the source of their power, and were titled Hor, or in Greek, Horodalai. They did not enter into marriage for life, but rather would have children with different kings and powerful men, securing alliances and protection for their children. Although she was worshipped as the goddess of love, Inanna was not the goddess of marriage, nor was she ever viewed as a mother goddess. The pearls of a prostitute are placed around your neck, and you are likely to snatch a man from the tavern. This woman is going into labor, and her partner was somebody important in this world, and notice she's wearing red. All of the prostitutes are wearing red. They mentioned several companions here. Inara Sarah is a registered companion. The cult of Inanna Ishtar, which may have been associated with a variety of sexual rites, including homosexual transvestite priests, sacred prostitution, and hierogamy between Sumerian kings and her priestesses. So I don't find it a coincidence that Inanna is the goddess of prostitutes and Inara is a prostitute priestess in this world. Nandi featured in the episode Heart of Gold and was trained as a companion. Nandi is the gate guardian deity of Kailash, the home of Lord Shiva in the Hindu religion. Guanyin is a friend of Inara's who she speaks to over wave after leaving House Madrasa. Kuan Yin, also spelled Guanyin, is the bodhisattva of compassion, venerated by East Asian Buddhists. The name Kuan Yin is short for Kuan Shi Yin, which means observing the sounds of the world, tones, frequencies, vibrations. Ceres left House Madrasa to work on a secret project for the Alliance. Ceres, the goddess of agriculture, identified with the Greeks with Demeter. This is where we get the word cereal. So these companions are all named after goddesses, and what a coincidence, Marina Baccarin is named after the Slavic goddess of death. They purposefully made her clothing to look like different cultures. Sometimes it looks ancient Greek, sometimes it looks Persian, and it does look distinctly Indian. In southern India and the eastern Indian state of Odisha, Devdasi is the practice of herodulic prostitution with similar customary forms such as basavi, and involves dedicating prepubescent and young adolescent girls from villages in a ritual marriage to a deity or temple, who then work in the temple and function as spiritual guides, dancers, and prostitutes serving male devotees in the temple. In the Greek-influenced and colonized world, sacred prostitution was known in Cyprus. Maccabees 6:4-5 describes sacred prostitution in the Hebrew temple under the reign of the Hellenistic ruler Antiochus. The Hebrew Bible uses two different words for prostitute, zana and kadesha. But the word kadesha literally means set apart, from the Semitic root word kadesha, meaning holy, consecrated, or set apart. This double meaning has led to the belief that kadesha were not ordinary prostitutes, but sacred harlots who worked out of fertility temples. The Incas sometimes dedicated young boys as temple prostitutes. The boys were dressed in girls' clothing. The Maya maintained several phallic religious cults, possibly involving homosexual temple prostitution. The Aztecs practiced this as well. They participated in religious festivals and rituals, as well as performing sexual acts as part of religious practice. This may be evidence for the existence of sacred prostitution in Mesoamerica. It is agreed that the Aztec god Xochipilli was both the patron of homosexuals and homosexual prostitutes. The Hittites practiced sacred prostitution as part of a cult of deities, including the worship of a mated pair of deities, a bull god and a lion goddess, while in later days it was the mother goddess who became prominent, representing fertility, and in Phoenicia, the goddess who presided over human birth. It has been argued that sacred prostitution, worked by both males and females, was a custom in ancient Phoenicia. It would be dedicated to the deities Astarte and Adonis. The vial Anara had when they passed the rivers in Serenity was going to be explained in a later episode. It was apparently a concoction that was able to kill whoever she had sex with. Her plan was to use it on the Reavers, and in this story the crew was supposed to find her surrounded by dead Reavers. Well, this relates to a practice actually which thankfully has been abolished. The Vishyakanya were young women reportedly used as assassins, often against powerful enemies, during the times of ancient India. Their blood and bodily fluids were purportedly poisonous to other humans, as was mentioned in the ancient Indian treatise on statecraft Arthashastra. The poisoned damsel, Sanskrit Vishyakanya, is a literary figure that appears in Sanskrit literature as a type of assassin used by kings to destroy enemies. The story goes that young girls were raised on a carefully crafted diet of poison and antidote from a young age, a practice referred to as Mithridatism, or violation of human rights. Although many would not survive, those that did were immune to other poisons, and their bodily fluids would be poisonous to others. Sexual contact would thus be lethal to other humans. The Anunnaki were practitioners in hormonal therapy, and during battle, the soldiers would drink the blood of their fallen comrades, which provided them with a much-needed energy boost and rehydration. Ordinarily, the Anunnaki imbibed the priestesses' menstrual blood, which they believed was full of nutrients and contained an essence that not only lengthened their lives, but also brought them to a higher state of consciousness. These are your original vampires. The cult of Dionysus, aka Bacchus, is also a cult of the souls. His maenads feed the dead through blood offerings. The Anunnaki were skilled scientists, so during these rituals they may not have drunk the substances fresh but distilled them. The oft-used quote about turning base metals into gold may have derived from the distillation of iron-rich blood into a yellow gold liquid, as Europeans in the last millennium discovered when they attempted to distill men's souls. Her clothing is not cultural appropriation, it's a salute to all these societies that practiced religious prostitution. There is considerable tension between Mol and Anara, because they fancy each other, but they can't be together. It's not that she can't be with him, it's that she won't. It's said in the Companions Guild they choose their own clients, but he's a petty thief, and if she were to be with him, it would bring her reputation down, making her a common whore. It's stated that the prostitutes come from good families, meaning elite families. So she's an elite prostitute, part of this elite guild. Note that these famous people can trace their bloodlines back to kings, barons, dukes, etc., because they are the descendants from shrine prostitutes, which they still practice today. I don't care what Wikipedia says, it's controlled up. I don't trust them to tell me which way is up. That's why you often see them wearing red dresses. The series shows that this is a fact, or why did they name her after the goddess of prostitutes?